So this is close to the end of the scraping of the back garden. As you can see, almost all of it is now bare soil, which is fantastic. What Karl did was he scraped off the surface topsoil, which was good for growing, moved that to one side, dug his various holes, buried things, which was all in clay, which is below the topsoil. And then he moved the piles of topsoil back again over the top of everything and smoothed it all out. So now I can cover it over with weed membrane, and that should stop any weeds growing for the foreseeable future until at least springtime maybe. So that's a good sort of 6 months maybe, 4, 5, 6 months. That'll give us plenty of time to make sure that the weeds are dead in the ground, and we can then figure out exactly what we plan to do with it. So as we walk across the surface, I mean, it's all beautifully flat. As we walk across, we now get to the first of the dips, and you can see this shallow bank which goes across, and a lower level which is possibly going to be grass, because that's a relatively manageable amount of space. And then at the lower level, as we go down, at this level down here, you've got a taller bank which is at a good angle for maintaining the soil. And you can see down there at the very bottom the plastic membrane going up against the house to protect it from water. You've got 2 pipes in there to collect any rainwater or surface water, and they will then run off up the far end, round the far end, and join up with the rainwater runoff at the back, at the front of the house. And this area is going to be the lobby area behind the back door. So there'll be a wall which is going to be outside of this wall. So there'll be an extra foundation going in here for a fake colombage wall on a dwarf stone wall. That will continue along over to here and then turn and go to the right-hand side of that door over there. And that whole area there will be a sort of lobby with probably the washing machine, dryer. There's plenty of room for other stuff. Oh, there'll be a second toilet here, and then washing machine, dryer. And then there'll be a roof on the top of it which goes to just below the where the gutter should be over there. And that is the tile roof which we're going to get replaced with slate. So obviously this lower roof will be slate as well. But the sensible thing to do, sadly, is to do this lower roof first so that you can get it neatly tucked into the wall, and then do the slate roof above it and the guttering. But I'm not sure we're going to do it in that sequence. The rest of this tin area here, corrugated iron stuff, on the back is going to go where the digger is at the moment on the side. That's going to have a refreshed new, you can just see the tin roof up there. That's going to have a refreshed tin roof on there over the septic tank, which is going to be inside down there. All very exciting. And here, by the side of the colombage barn, is the parking area. Obviously that big mound is not really appropriate for putting your car on. Karl will be distributing that gravel over the whole area. So there's more geotextile to go down the side, down the bottom, and then out to the front. Hello, viewer. Well, now that Karl has laid out and smoothed out the garden, it's time for me to wrap up my present with weed membrane to try and stop weeds coming back. So I'm going to start with the slope and the first part of the top here, got a 4 metre by 15 metre sheet, and then I've got 3 2 metre by 100 metre rolls, which I'll cut up and lay strips. So let's see what happens. Now the wind normally comes from over there in this direction, so I'm going to try and overlap them such that this edge on this side, it's tucked under the next one, and so on and so on, so that the wind as it comes over, in theory, only has one edge which it could lift. And I've got pegs which can hold the membrane down. So as I say, that's a 4 metre by 15 metre. Does the slope. And I've got a relatively straight edge along there. So I'll start with the next 2 metre roll. Let's see what happens. I'll probably put a couple of rolls in place before I start pegging them into permanent position. Because we haven't got any steps yet, I've got to go all the way up that end in order to get up to this first level. the really good things about this weed membrane is it's got a line, it's got lines all the way up it. So if I stand at that end, I can look down it and see that I've laid it in a straight line. It's very helpful. Right, we're now at the point of the first shallow bank, or the shallow bank. So far I've been lucky that there hasn't been too much of a breeze and it hasn't messed me up, but it's starting to lift the fabric, which is really annoying. I'm going to move you back a bit so I can continue probably another 4 meters, and that will use up my last roll. So this one will open up to be 2 meters and then that's 4. Okay, good, getting on a bit that way. All right, so here we are at the tail end of things. We've got a little bit of left over here and a little bit on a roll over there. But apart from that, we've got quite a few meters covered up. We've got one of the shallow banks. The shallow bank is now covered, and most of that big bank over there is covered, so I might use some of the leftover on this edge here. But as I was saying, it's got these lines that go up it, which ensure that you're going in a straight line, which is very helpful. The purpose of this is just to stop the weeds coming back quite as voraciously as you can see over there. And the entire boundary is ferns and brambles. When we turned up, it's about 3 meters thick, and we managed to cut that back, but it grew again pretty quickly. So here we are at the far side of the Columbage barn, which is now going to be a car park. So we'll be able to park the car, turn around. That'll all be very, very useful. And at some stage I need to start addressing this wall. At the moment I have started building a pile of stones in there, because obviously this dwarf wall made out of block is not particularly attractive. So it's got stones at the very bottom. So I'll get rid of the blocks and put stones in their place. And then I'll have a fake sort of colombage above there, probably a large window there, and fake colombage over there. Anyway, all good fun. So car park, once that's all leveled out, and we've just got the last little bit of this membrane to pin in place. Very pleased with that. The slope which goes down to the parking area, the bottom end is flapping around, so I'll have to pin that in. And then the bank which is over there, that needs to be pinned. And then that's all of it done. If I have a lot more pins left over, I might put even more on this edge here, because obviously when the wind comes through there, it's an area of risk. Let's see what happens. I think that's it for today. So I'll just carry on and do these things. You can go off and make some tea. Bye for now.